Hello once again to all our friends, our supporters, and our viewers of iGreyhound. It's another Thursday evening, and once again, we make Thursdays as our regular habit. Here we are again on Channel 6 of Filproducts TV-Dumaguete, and we are also being streamed live on the Facebook page of Foundation University. My name is Cecilia Nove, and yes, we are merely just counting the days before the Kasadiaan Festival, the much-awaited event here at Foundation University. And everyone on campus are all agog over the preparations for the Kasadiaan Festival. So for our episode for tonight, friends, we have invited the reigning Hara sa FU because after all, can you imagine that in a few weeks, she will be relinquishing her crown to the new Hara sa FU. So may I introduce our special guest for tonight's episode, friends. She is, as I mentioned, the reigning Hara sa FU, and we would like to welcome her back once again on iGreyhound. Hi, Hearlie, and pleasant evening once again.
Good evening, Ma'am Hinove. Good evening to the viewers.
Yes. Can you imagine that? It's been a year since you were crowned Hara sa FU, and look at that. Very soon you will be relinquishing your crown. What goes on in your head, on your pretty head, Hearlie?
In a way, I just realized that time really goes by too fast. I can't imagine that it's been a year. And when it comes to relinquishing the crown, I would say that it's not even a bittersweet feeling. For me, it's a feeling of relief because as most of you may not know, but I'm actually like a working law student, and it can be quite hard, even that alone. And so having this opportunity is a really good one, but at the same time, it's been a huge burden for me. But I have nothing but gratefulness for this chance to be your Hara.
Right. You know, I've interviewed you, Hearlie, as well as the other candidates with you who were also aspiring to get the crown last year, right? However, did you really think that, I wonder, that you would get the crown, or you would have rather not gotten the crown at all, judging from what you are feeling now? Yeah.
That is true. I did not enter the pageant because I thought that I could get the crown or I could win. I mean, there are other candidates who are far more competitive than me. I entered the pageant because I wanted a creative outlet, something to do other than read and hit the books and recite in class. But at the same time, I was very grateful, but in a way, like what I said, relieved that I'm now going to relinquish the crown. And so under that pretext, I didn't intend to win. It was just a good bonus.
Yes, and I think it's an outlet, as you had mentioned, not to something that would enhance your creativity other than what you are really doing practically every day because you're a law student, so reading and everything, right? So anyway, last year when I interviewed you after you had gotten the crown, you said that this is something that will probably, take you away from your studies, but at the same time, you also wanted this particular opportunity to be able to implement your advocacy. Tell us about this now, Hearlie. So how has it been implementing and making sure that your advocacy is being heard or being felt by your constituents, so to speak?
Because of the position that I'm in law school, so I do have connections with victims of exploitation and abuse. And so in a way, I can't really go into details about what I did for my advocacy and the stories that I've heard because that's very private.
Yes.
But it's been a really good opportunity for me to be able to stay in touch with those people, hear their stories, and be inspired of why I started law school in the first place. Because I had this professor back then who said that if you're getting tired about reading case books and you're being discouraged because you think you're inadequate in law school, always go back to why you started. And me being able to immerse myself in the community and be reminded of who I'm doing this for, that's a really good eye-opener. It's a really good source of inspiration, not just for me, but for my fellow law students as well.
Yeah. So did you get the answer to the question at the back of your mind when you joined Hara sa FU? Like, what exactly did you want to do?
Yes, but but the thing is, I had this advocacy even before I joined Hara sa FU. I've been going to these, I've been interacting with these children that are abused. I've always championed children's rights and being able to help them, in every way that I can. And so it really didn't make much of a difference. It just magnified it.
Yes. And perhaps now that you have the title, so to speak, no, you are in the best position to implement this particular advocacy. So far, Hearlie, in your interactions, no, not only with the children that you had mentioned, but even among individuals from all walks of life, like in particular, no, maybe you can talk about it in a general term. What insights did you get from them, especially if it may be related to your current advocacy? Whether these individuals may be in a position of authority or whether they are ordinary individuals.
Other than the people that have had a lot of challenges in their lives, especially the children, of course, I draw inspiration from the lawyers that I interact with. They've always been people that I've looked up to in the industry, and they gave me a lot of advice and a lot of
perhaps insights, no? Or maybe, or ideas, perhaps?
Yeah.
Yeah, and especially so that here you are, well, I'm not saying that because you're a woman, you can like get your way around or something like get it much better than how perhaps men can do it. But do you feel that the children that you are interacting with, because essentially these are children, right? Do you feel that they are drawn towards you because here you are, you're a woman, or they feel like they can open up to you?
That's the difficult part for me, actually, because I didn't grow up with siblings.
Oh, yes.
And so I don't have an experience with actually interacting with kids. That for me is a challenge. But at the same time, these kids are very affectionate. They are drawn to people that serve them. They are drawn to people that give them attention. And so they, in fact, made it easier for me.
Yeah, right. But did you also connect with a particular organization? You may or may not mention the particular organization, but did you connect with maybe an NGO, a non-government organization?
Yes, I did. All thanks to my college. Of course, they already had that connection even before. We have this thing called Clinical Legal Education Program, and they have the CSWD, for example, and children's homes and orphanages around Dumaguete that they serve, that the college serves.
Yes. I'm curious again, no, because you said that you have not experienced having siblings at all because you're an only child. Yes, I remember that. But why did you choose this particular advocacy? You could have chosen any specific advocacy that may deal with legal matters, but maybe not necessarily dealing with children.
Well, I realized that you don't have to be good with children to be able to have this advocacy.
Yes,
this is incidental, or the pursuit of justice is incidental to the career path that I'm in. And I know that children are the most vulnerable sector of our society, and we must always put our focus and put the spotlight into child abuse and how to prevent it.
Yes, it's a good thing that you mentioned that, no, because this is one of the issues that haunts society today, no? The ones that like violence, perhaps, child abuse, and even not only among children, but even among women. No? But this is one particular concern in our society that may have been left, well, maybe unattended or may have been taken for granted. But it's a good thing that you had started on this advocacy, Hearlie, even before you got the crown. No? So that means that you have been working with this with these children in particular?
Not-
Before law school or?
Yeah, before law
before,
school.
Oh, before
Not
law
directly,
school.
but
Yeah.
I do help in organizations,
Okay.
for example, volunteer work,
Yeah.
and also I do the best that I can
Yeah.
in these situations. And
Yes.
people.
How helpful is an organization or perhaps a clinic that we're having, no? At Foundation University, and in fact through the efforts of the College of Law and Jurisprudence in bringing out the best among you law students, to get out of our, our totem pole, to get out of our campus and really implement or perhaps put into use what you may have studied inside the classroom and not wait until you finish law school.
Like I said, it's a good opportunity because we as law students, we're just stuck at home, reading
Yeah.
and reciting, studying for exams. So it can be very rigid. It's easy to lose track of why you're there and to just give up.
Yeah.
But then when you interact with people that are actually abused, that you are going to help in the future, or will be going to help by virtue of like being a lawyer someday, you realize that you're not just doing the things, you're not going through law school just for yourself. You're doing it for the clients that you will have in the future, for the vulnerable sector, to be able to protect their rights. And that is a really good inspiration to have and to carry with you while you're in law school.
Yeah, but isn't that once again, quite heavy, quote and unquote, hurl on your part? Because here you are, you're studying for your exams, preparing for recitations in your classes, but at the same time, your advocacy is leaning also towards something that is legal, something that is very much related to your law classes. I was just thinking, perhaps, I wonder, I'm not really like putting you to a spot now, but like go into something that may not really be related to what you are exactly doing at law school. Maybe something else to take your mind off from what you're currently doing, as what you had mentioned earlier as well.
Well, when I entered law school, I had that mentality or that mental fortitude that I am going to do this through and through. I am not going to be redirected or to do something else that is very far off from it. Because for me, law school, really, you have to have a direct path towards becoming a lawyer. You can't afford any distractions. So I know that it can sound very rigid to people, but for me, this is a way of me not getting redirected or being diverted to something else. I'm not good at multitasking, for example, so I can't have, it's easier to have an advocacy that is closer to that, because that is, like I said, incidental to my career path. So I don't have to sit here and talk empty words.
Yes, right.
That this is an advocacy that I just suddenly came up with because I joined the pageant. But this is an advocacy that I've had before and I will eventually have in the future. So it's a lot easier and a lot more, it gives more passion to the advocacy that I have.
Does it also help that now that you are already doing this, not only while you are being you're a Hara, but even before Hara, and of course after Hara, right? Yes. But isn't this helpful to you? You find this very helpful to you? Like you can relate to the classes that you have or the recitations that your professors ask you to do because you have this advocacy?
Yes, very much.
It's an actual experience.
Yeah, especially in criminal law, I think that helped a lot. I was able to review the laws regarding children's rights again, even though I took criminal law like years back.
Yes. The law profession really is something that is, challenging today and also very, very demanding as far as individuals are concerned. And not many, of course, make it to survive law school, for that matter, and even to hurdle the very challenging bar examinations. But looking at you, Hearl, I think your drive, your commitment and your passion is there. But tell me, what exactly spurred you to like go into like law school? Is it something that you really wanted? I wonder if you had mentioned that in our previous interviews. What spurred you to be so passionate and dedicated, so to speak, no? Even when you are yet in your third year in law school.
Well, I've always had to make, I've always had this notion that before I die, I want to make as much of a difference in the world as I can. And given that, for example, in my mindset, medicine and law are one of the best careers out there that you will be able to make an impact on people's lives and to the community as well. And so because I don't have a particular talent when it comes to science and medicine, I know for a fact that I won't be able to succeed in that area. And I know that I'm, well, not particularly perfect or stellar at it, but I consider myself a good writer. I write for a living, in fact. And so being able to, I love reading a lot, and so I love writing also. And those are the things that I think are very important to have when you pursue a law career. And so I chose a career that best fits me.
So this is law now.
Yeah.
Yeah. These traits or characteristics, one who is really adept at writing and of course speaking, like what you do now, is really very helpful for somebody who is going into law school and, God willing, of course, who will become as you would be pursuing your legal studies or law studies to become a lawyer, as a matter of fact. No? But going back once again to the pageant last year, because I watched, of course, the pageant, I interviewed you together with the rest of the candidates, and even while you were preparing for the advocacy, all the photo shoots and everything, the fact that you were able to interact with your fellow Foundationites, how did you feel about the pressure, Hearl? Did you really feel that, or did you feel that you need to ace the pageant because you're a law student?
Well, not really. I didn't have that in mind. Because first of all, I'm not into pageantry in the first place. That was my first time. And so I didn't really think much of it. For me, I just went in and, my goal is to have as much fun as possible, to have as much of a creative outlet as I can out of the halls of law school or the legal academe. And so it was really, it was not much of a pressure for me because I don't really have that. Because I don't think, even if I fail in this pageant, in that pageant, for example, I would say that it won't affect me that much because in the first place, it's not really a dream of mine. And it worked out for the best, and I think that's what matters.
And also that you were able to represent your college, right? I think that's also one thing. No?
I think my college was also like, they were not shocked, but they were not that...
not shocked that you made it, that you were crowned Hara?
Or, no, with the whole pageantry thing, because I was the first contestant that they had ever.
Oh, ever?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
And so they were probably
excited, maybe, or excited, or
we didn't know what emotions we were going to feel at that time. We were just like,
or
okay,
maybe,
whatever happens, happens.
Or maybe they didn't know how to deal with somebody who is now Miss Law.
Because that's not something that happens a lot in law school.
So we have had, at Foundation University, we have had a representative for the graduate school, no? But you are the first, here we are. You are the first Miss Law, a representative of the College of Law and Jurisprudence, and of course the first like the first candidate or the first Miss Law who made it as Hara sa FU. Yes, okay. Now that we are well on our way to celebrating once again our Kasadiaan Festival and again also the Hara sa FU for 2025, no? That's 2024 pa pala. You have also been involved with making some pep talk with our current candidates. Have you met all of them already, Hearl?
I've seen the interviews that they've had, but I didn't really have a chance to interact with them, other than, of course, Connie, who is representing my college, because I see her around campus. I talk to her sometimes. So she's the only one, to be honest, because I'm fairly busy, and so I don't really have much time to interact with them.
Exactly.
But I'm sure they'll do well. And like you
Yes.
said, they're really good speakers.
Yes, right. The advocacy again that you are espousing, no? Especially that this is now towards the end of your reign, but of course, as you had mentioned, you intend to go on with it even after your reign as Hara, and hopefully as well, even when you become a lawyer, much more so when you become a lawyer. But tell me, Hearl, especially so now that you are about to relinquish your crown, no? Yeah, you had mentioned that perhaps it's not exactly a bittersweet thing, but perhaps a sense of relief now that your reign is over. But tell us once again, no? The experience that you had over the past year, not only in terms of your implementing your advocacy, but in general, how has life changed you? How has your life been affected perhaps by your reign as Hara sa FU?
On the personal aspect of my life, it's really been a life-changing year. For one, I had my first actual job, like not just an online job, but a face-to-face job where I actually had to report to the office, and I really had that feeling of, a career woman, someone pursuing a legitimate career. And so that's helped me mature a lot, especially in terms of having to balance my time. I've been before I had that job, I don't have really good time management. I fail a lot on that department, and ever since I've had that, I've been more conscious about my time. So there was a growth in that area. And also, one of the highlights for me this year is actually being able to volunteer for the bar operations. We helped our
the fourth year.
Yes, the graduates, the bar takers. That was a very tiring experience. I didn't get to sleep the day that I volunteered because we had to wake them up at around 4 a.m. So I was at the hotel that they were sleeping in at 3 a.m.
Wow.
And we accompanied them to San Carlos at that time.
So you went to Cebu?
Yes,
Cebu,
we went to Cebu.
Ah, wow. Great experience. No? Because after all, it's not only are you giving encouragement or perhaps some like a pat on the back, no, for the barristers. We call the barristers. They've finished the bar already. But also like getting the same experience as you would be having when you also will have the time to take the bar exams. Yeah. So that's it, no? So one would be a job that you had gotten while you are like now, no? Like you are in law school.
Yes.
So you're allowed to do that, right? You're allowed to do that.
We only have classes in the evening.
In the evening.
And I think most of my classmates are working.
Okay, yes.
And so, it was nice.
Yeah. The reason why I asked that is, I've been thinking of some students who are into law school but who are full-time students, no? Yeah, but is it better that way if you're also working and at the same time pursuing law school, not necessarily something that is related to the law profession or the job that you have?
For me, it depends on the person, because others, they prefer to be full-time students to be able to focus. But there are also people like me and another professor that I've had who said that it's really good to have work as well on the side because it teaches you the value of time and hustle. He said that when he was a full-time student, all he did was like sleep on his extra time.
He was not, that professor of yours was not working at all.
Yes, he wasn't working at all. But when he got the job, he became more responsible. And so it really depends on how you manage your time and who you are as a person. If you get distracted by work, then the advice is, of course, for you to be a full-time student. But if you're someone who is a slacker and who needs that extra pressure, like I do, I think it's really good to have a job on the side. And it helps if your job is not a 9 to 5, an 8 to 5 or 9 to 5 job, but something that you can do on your own time.
Okay. Oh, yeah, or flexible, no?
Yes.
The time is flexible. But in your case, you mentioned time management. Who pressures you, Hearl? You mentioned that it's for somebody who is a slacker like you, you need the pressure. But who pressures you? Do you pressure yourself? Or you're pressured by what? Your parents? Family?
I'm pressured by external factors.
Okay.
Like my job and having
okay.
a goal. I think that's it. My goal is to not have low grades. So as much as possible, I try to keep that up, but at the same time do well in my job. And so those external factors, those difficult situations or the challenges that you have around you, they pressure you to become a better version of yourself, a more responsible individual.
Yeah. Is it also discipline that would spur somebody like you, no? Or anyone for that matter who is into law school or any other field of endeavor to do their best?
Discipline,
yeah.
I think is indispensable in law school. You can't really survive law school without discipline and without that mental fortitude to go forward, because I know a lot of really smart people who just gave up. They're really intelligent, they graduated with honors and stuff like that, but they just gave up with law school because they didn't have that strength or that fortitude to go forward, or maybe they lost interest.
Yes, right.
And so we have this saying that it's somehow better to be a disciplined individual than to be intelligent in law school.
Oh, yeah. So not necessarily an intelligent individual, no, but
although intelligence helps.
Of course,
but discipline is really the biggest factor in law school.
Yeah. And also perhaps the staying power, no? So if you have discipline, you get to stay on in law school, whether there are circumstances that may be beyond your control or something that you can control yourself. But so long as they say, no, so long as you are in it, then you'll still be able to get your dream. Yes, we will be talking some more with the reigning Hara sa FU friends after we pause for these few reminders. iGreyhound will be right back. Yes, we're back once again on iGreyhound. We are being streamed live on the Facebook page of Foundation University, and we are also being telecast on Channel 6 of Filproducts TV-Dumaguete. And of course, we're also being streamed live on Filproducts. Yes, we're still talking to our reigning Hara sa FU, Miss Hearlie Ortega, a third-year law student, and now we are simply just counting the weeks before she relinquishes her crown to the next Hara sa FU. But I think Hearlie said that she can now heave a sigh of relief, but at the same time, perhaps, is there something like, how I wish I can still hang on to my crown, I wonder.
To be perfectly honest, no.
Oh, yeah, para bang, okay, here is your crown, Hara.
As much as I've enjoyed it,
Yeah.
I enjoy the whole experience and the journey. I think this is a chapter in my life that I'm very much ready to let go of, and
Yes.
for me to be able to move on and focus to,
Okay.
of course, preparing for the bar in the future.
Exactly, exactly. Now that, very soon, I think that not really pressure, no, but the expectations, ayan, of the Dumaguete community, especially when we stage productions like Hara sa FU, has now leveled up, no? Especially so that we produce really great productions at Foundation University. But at the same time, the pressure perhaps would be on the girls or the ladies, perhaps Hearl, no? Because here you are, very competent, eloquent, articulate, very beautiful Hara. So I think the pressure is like we have to be at par, or perhaps be better than the previous Hara and so on. But tell me what transpired, Hearl, very quickly. Just a look back, no, on the coronation night itself. That was in December of last year, when the final question was asked of all of you, right? All of you were asked the final question, courtesy of no less than our president, university president, President Dean Cinco. Then maybe you can reprise, you can tell our viewers once again, Hearl, what the final question was.
The question was, if the world was your oyster, how many have you had and which one was your favorite?
Okay.
That is actually it's a difficult question on its face.
Yeah.
But I think I was able to answer that because of my love for old literature.
Yeah,
because
yes.
I remember that old idiom from, I said before in this, when we had our interview back then, that I think that's from a movie, but now I remember that it's actually from one of Shakespeare's play, The Merry Wives of Windsor. I'm not sure if I'm saying it right, but it was from his play. That is where it originated.
Okay.
And the phrase, the world is your oyster, basically means that, the world is full of opportunities, the world is full of experiences, and I think that was what was asked. But what went into my head when I first heard that was like, that's a very niche question. That's not something that you normally would hear in a pageant. I mean, I couldn't imagine answering it if I didn't know about that idiom in the first place. How would I go about it? How would I connect it if I didn't know? I guess I was just very lucky that night that I'm very into old literature, that I was able to realize, oh, that's probably what it means. But the first thing that went into my head was, that's a difficult question.
Yes, exactly. And how you would interpret it, right? And I think you mentioned some phrases that you also mentioned during that night, during that evening, when you answered that final question. Something like, the world is full of opportunities and experiences. I think I remember that.
I think my answer
Your
was,
answer.
My oysters or something like that would be culture and arts.
Yes,
I want to be able to travel the world and experience cultures from different countries and be able to connect with people and be able to connect with different types of societies and how they function. And I think that's really what I would want to do in the future.
Yes, and any question for that matter that would be hurled to a candidate, no, or to a beauty pageant contender would really shock you, no, or perhaps it will like you would be taken aback by questions such as those. But I think most of you and you yourself, you were able to hurdle it?
I think even the audience fell silent.
Oh.
I remember, I didn't hear
Okay.
any clapping. They were probably thinking, what was that question?
Yes, okay. Or what does it
So
mean? Or
everyone
something like
didn't, I think I was looking at the faces of the audience and they
Okay.
didn't know how to react. They were like puzzled.
Okay, yeah,
They're
yeah.
probably thinking about how to answer that or what was
themselves,
that.
no? Yeah, right, yeah. But that was really mind-boggling if I will have to identify it or describe it that way. And I think all of us here at Foundation University and even the outside community would be waiting, no, with bated breath,
Yeah.
what the university president would be asking our ladies. I think that's the more nerve-wracking part of the pageant. But yes, in this second segment that we are having, Hearl, no, as you had mentioned, very soon, it's not exactly like hanging on to the crown, but tell me, what would life be now, especially that you would now be relinquishing your crown? What do you see for yourself now that you have finished your reign?
My answer is gonna be really boring.
I really? Wow.
It's just really hitting the books and being
okay.
catching up with, for me, the cases that I wasn't able to read.
Okay.
Of course, my exams, my assignments, things that I really need to comply with
Okay.
in order to graduate.
Okay.
Basically, preparations or preparing myself, being in that mindset of soon taking the bar.
Yeah, and of course you have your work, no? That would
And
also-
yes, of course,
Yeah.
my work. It's
Your
just
work,
on the
yeah.
side.
Okay, yeah. But can you imagine that, na? So it's going to be, quote and unquote, a boring life
Yes,
already.
it's like
talaga?
school and career,
And
school and
career.
career,
Ay,
school.
wow, okay. What perks did you enjoy, if I may put it that way, when you were crowned Hara? In your classes and maybe
In my classes?
in your classes,
I'm not
in the
sure
community and with your family. Okay, in your
I'm
classes.
not entirely sure if it's a perk because now most of my professors know of me, and so I'm an
Okay.
easier target for recitations.
Okay.
And so that's the thing. I'm not sure if
So
it's a perk.
I don't think it's a perk. Okay.
For one, I'm an introvert, so I don't particularly enjoy being, putting myself out there. I think last year was, I really was just looking to do something else other than law school. And like you said, I'm not even sure if I really wanted the crown. But of course, I'm eternally grateful for this opportunity.
Of course.
But
Yeah. What notable activities do you remember while you were doing, you were having your reign already? Notable activities, not necessarily related to your advocacy, but things that you did in school, things you did for the university as Hara sa FU. Things that you may remember in particular, and those that are memorable.
When it's not related to my advocacy, I think that's, I already mentioned it, the bar exam, being able to volunteer for the bar exams.
Aside from that, but that was not as a Hara sa FU, but as a Hara sa FU.
I think I'm still waiting on that. We still have an activity that I'm really looking forward to. So I'm gonna, I think I'm gonna reserve my answer for that activity because this is, I think we're set to do volunteer work to a certain orphanage that my friend, one of my closest friends, is also interned there, and she told me a lot of stories about the children there and the things that they've done and what the children are up to and stuff like that. And so I'm really looking forward to that because I feel like I already know those children even before I went there, even before I will go there.
Okay, so essentially your reign was like law school, no? Fulfilling your responsibilities for law school in its entirety as a Hara sa FU. In other words, you are representing the university, right? But essentially, it also may be related to your advocacy in particular. And I think that would be an easier way to be a Hara sa FU through your advocacy, right?
Yeah.
Yes, okay. But how else has it changed your life in terms of your family, perhaps, the friends that you have?
I think it surprised my family and friends because I did join a couple of competitions. Like when I was a kid, I think the first competition I joined was a draw and tell. So it was a speaking engagement. I was around 4, and it was here in Dumaguete as well.
Oh, really?
I remembered it being in, I think, the Boy Scout building.
Okay.
And so I was really small at that time. I won like a Hello Kitty alarm clock.
Okay, wow.
And like a portrait, and I
Yes,
drew
yes.
like a sketch of a family going to church and how important it was, and stuff like that. And then right after, I joined speech choir, and I joined debates, and I've also tried extemporaneous speech, but never a pageant.
Oh, yes.
So
yes,
it's always been like academic. And so when I joined the pageant, it surprised my friends and family that, are you sure? they're saying that it's so out of character for me to do. And so now, if anything, it changed me that I'm a lot more self-assured and a lot more confident, because I thought back then I could never do something like this because I'm nerdy and awkward. I don't know how to walk in heels. I don't know how to dance. But this really helped me boost my confidence.
But you're still an introvert.
Yes.
You mentioned that you're an introvert.
I think that's something I can't really shave off.
But it probably also helped, as you had mentioned, no? Boosting your self-confidence because of the activities that you have been doing, especially while like fulfilling your reign as Hara sa FU. Now, so onwards, no, can you imagine it would be like morning, you come to school or perhaps work, and then go to school or go to classes and so on. But otherwise, it would be, as you had mentioned, it came from you, kinda a boring life because you have no other, like an alternative maybe activity other than law school. Now, tell us about, we were talking about perks earlier. Is it, do you enjoy more perks or benefits as an only child compared to if you have siblings, for example? No offense meant to those who come from large families.
I would say so, because the focus is 100% on me. And also, my parents are very, very understanding, and they let me do things on my own. In fact, I was in high school when I first tried living on my own.
Oh, wow.
And so that really taught me a lot of responsibility. They're not like the so-called helicopter parents. They allow me to commit mistakes, and they allow me to, so to speak, spread my wings. And so I'm very grateful for them about that.
That description, hello to Mr. and Mrs. Ortega, no? But you know, that description somehow is not exactly reminiscent of those who come from, or those who have an only child in their family, because usually they're overprotective. Usually they don't allow you perhaps not to even join a pageant or even work, no? Perhaps, no? Some, I know of some parents who would rather that their child like stays home, maybe do an online job so that they can keep close watch over this particular child. But for you, your parents, no, allow you to be yourself.
I think I just grew up in a very different environment. My parents are very liberated in a sense. They allow me to wear whatever I want. They allow me to go to parties. They allow me to. And my father said that, you know, it's okay to make mistakes as long as you can recover from them and you know yourself better. And I think it's that trust that created this mentality that I don't want to fail them, because they gave me that trust. And so I want to keep that as much as possible, keep that intact.
And then may I add, especially for an only child and a woman at that, no? Usually they're kind of strict or overprotective. But I'm happy to know that your parents also feel that way towards you, Hearlie. Now, you don't mind if I ask you kind of a personal question, like you have a boyfriend or somebody who gives you inspiration?
Yes, I do have a boyfriend. He is also in law school. He's in
okay.
Siliman.
Okay.
And the third-year student.
Okay,
as
that's
well.
great. So now, I wonder if you
It's a
had
very
mentioned that-
similar career path.
Okay, yeah. I'm glad that now you can come out about it in the open. Huh? Although there's no restriction about you know, whether you have a boyfriend or not while you are being harassed at you. But anyway, now that we are nearing the pageant night or the coronation night, Hearl, no? And as you had mentioned, you have not met all the girls yet, no? But probably you have been focusing on Miss Law or something. But in general, especially so that there are things that you may want to share to our candidates, maybe from your own experience, maybe from those that you have read, maybe from the experiences of friends of yours who are also holders of titles. Or what would you want to tell them? Like pieces of advice.
I don't think I'm in the best position to give an advice because, first of all, I'm not really a pageantera, as one would call them. But my advice, or how I approach the pageant, I guess, would be more authentic. Don't overdo it, and just have fun in doing the pageant, because that shines through. I think people see that when you're relaxed, when you're happy about what you do, and do not overthink the questions that are that are thrown at you. Just answer them in an authentic way. And I think more than intelligence and beauty, you should also have you should also focus on kindness and compassion, because for me, those two, intelligence and beauty, they're easy to come by, but what's really rare to have is authenticity and compassion towards others. And so that's, I think, is more commendable and a lot more important.
Can one see through an individual in terms of their being sincere, not necessarily talking about our candidates? Can we see through somebody, a person, and like see his or her sincerity?
I think I'm starting to answer like how law students usually answer. We always go with "it depends."
Oh, really? Is that the premise?
Because there are a lot of facts to consider. There are people that are really good at putting up a face, and there are people who are, you can see outright that they're just not good people. But there are also people who like to pretend. But I think more than anything, you can't really be 100% sure about a person's sincerity. But as long as that person is treating you well and is not doing anything to harm other people, I think that's good enough for me, because it's too unrealistic to say that I can read or you can read people outright. But as long as they're not doing anything blatant that would actually be harmful to society, I think that's good enough.
Or do good, no, to other people. Pardon for the personal reference, I'm really a very poor reader of people's sincerity or whatever it may be, no? In other words, I immediately put my trust on people, no? But is it a liability, I wonder, not being able to see through whether a person is sincere or not? Liability or whatever?
For me, people who are very judgmental, they suffer more. Because then they would actually they would go around always thinking that this person's intentions good, or is this person being fake, or is this person does this person actually mean the good things that they are saying? And it's a burden for those people that are able to read people well enough, because it's a difficult and scary world that we live in. And in contrast to that, there are people who are also very dense, as one would say. They don't know how to read people. They're very trusting,
or gullible, perhaps, no?
But based on how I see it, they're a lot happier. Because I think it's just like the saying, ignorance is bliss.
Yes.
And so But if I were to choose who I am who would I prefer to be, I think I would prefer to be the latter, just because of the career that I chose. It's a lot easier to be that way. But in terms of happiness, I think people who are a lot more dense have
really,
it easier.
Probably because they don't think too much, no?
Yeah,
or sorry, not really
but
that they don't think at all, no?
Also easier to take advantage of.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Or maybe overthink, no? They don't overthink. Like, for example, when you meet a person for the first time and you just are able to like hit it off well, and that's it, no? You don't really need to ask whether is this person sincere or
they don't overthink about the interaction.
Yeah, or are you telling the truth when you tell me, or something like that, no? Yes, I think I should also shed off whatever gullibility we may have, no? But yeah, both a liability, perhaps, no? Again, let's reprise what our law students would say, no? It depends. Yes, okay, yeah. So now that so advice, no, to these ladies. But you know, our ladies now, no, of course, I don't want to jump the gun, but our ladies are very competitive, huh, Hearlie?
Yeah.
Was it also like your batch last year? I'm just curious. You have had more interaction with them.
I think my batch was very relaxed, a lot more relaxed actually than the batch now. But I can't judge, of course, because I'm not in their shoes, or I'm not part of it anymore. But there are a lot of my fellow pageant queens or Haras at that time. A lot of them had the same
parang sentiment or feeling?
Had the same goal as mine, to just have fun.
Oh, okay. That's good, no?
Yeah, it's really good because it's not a very competitive environment.
Okay.
That's probably why also I didn't feel that much pressure when I joined, because we were just having fun.
Yes, I think that's the best way of like looking at things, no? Especially when you join actually very competitive. Pageants are competitive, maybe not among you ladies, but maybe among the colleges that you are representing. But I'm curious, did you have like a nice, friendly relationship with the ladies of your batch last year?
Yeah, we did actually. I think we went to, we had dinner together. We were exchanging gifts.
Cute
We had our dinner at Dumos.
Okay.
And also, one of the contestants, we went diving together.
Wow, cute.
So,
nice.
it was really fun. I was able to make a lot of good memories with them and build friendship as well, which I did not expect.
Yes, right. And I suppose they will become like so-called your sisters, so to speak, no? Even after you leave Foundation University as a, God willing, of course, as a law graduate, So now that the ladies also are preparing for their advocacies, again, pieces of advice for them. Should they, like, take in everything that they have prepared for, of course, seriously, no? But what about if there are situations where the things that they had prepared for did not exactly come out as expected or happen as expected, despite their preparation for that particular advocacy?
I think they just have to adapt. I think that's the most important quality when it comes to the unexpected things. You really have to reprogram and adapt to whatever is more feasible, whatever is more doable, because it's not always going to be perfect or smooth sailing all the time, and so you have to be malleable as an individual in order to adapt to what is demanded of you. And so I think that's one of the most important things, just adaptability.
Yes, because it can also like deter you from pursuing, no, what you had started, or maybe for some people, especially if they are not that resilient, perhaps discourage them from pursuing it any further.
I think it's also important to employ the help of other people.
Oh, yes.
Because you can't do an advocacy alone. You have to tap with the people that you know, tap with the people that are, well, I would say more capable. Because in my case, of course, I wouldn't be able to do these things if I didn't have connections. If I didn't employ the help of lawyers, for example, or friends in law school.
Right,
So
right.
surround yourself with the people that will
Yeah.
be able to support you and to do that, to do your advocacy or put it into fruition.
Right, right. And you know, I think this is one particular time where we can inform our viewers as well that the Hara sa FU at Foundation University is kind of a unique experience because not only does it focus on beauty, of course, beauty of face and even talent, but more so on the advocacy that each lady is supposed to pursue, whether it is during the pageant or even after the pageant. In your case, it was even before the pageant. So yes, can you imagine that? It's now 1 hour, girl. And I think this is one opportune time where you can perhaps express your appreciation, your gratitude to people who have been with you throughout this 1-year reign. So you have the floor, our Hara sa FU of 2023, Miss Hearlie Ortega.
Of course, I would like to thank everyone who has supported me throughout this journey, especially the College of Law. I know it must be difficult for you to trust someone who didn't even have a pageant experience, who is obviously awkward and geeky at the same time. And so it was really a good opportunity that you've provided me, and I couldn't thank you enough for that. And to my friends and family as well, and those who have supported me all throughout this journey.
Yeah, thank you very much, Hearl. And again, congratulations for a wonderful reign. And thank you very much for representing Foundation University and, of course, your College of Law and Jurisprudence. So see you during the launching or the presentation of candidates and, of course, during the coronation night. Thank you once again, Miss Hearlie Ortega, our Hara sa FU. So with that, friends, we bring to a close another episode of iGreyhound. We hope to see you again in our future episodes. Please do not forget our replays are on Fridays and Saturdays at 2 o'clock in the afternoon to 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And yes, we are also being streamed live on the Facebook page of Foundation University. Thank you very much once again to my stylist, Miss Rofi of Yvonne's Closet, for my chic clothes on the show, as always. Thank you very much. This has been Cecile Henove bidding everyone a pleasant evening.
Located at Dumaguete City, Negros Oriental, Philippines, Foundation University is an institution that strives to provide quality education for all. Continues to be at the forefront of innovative teaching and academic excellence. Founded by Dr. Vicente G. Cinco in 1949. FU has become a home to diverse Foundationites coming from different regions and cities in the Philippines. It is a non-profit, non-sectarian institution, accessible to all, offering several fields of study for its undergraduate, graduate, and postgraduate students through blended learning. Serves to educate and further develop individuals to become productive, creative, and responsible citizens of society. Foundation University proves it is an institution prepared to face adversities and challenges, as innovation is the heart of its goal. Despite the obstruction of a global pandemic, the university continues to pursue its development plans, create action, and bring its vision into a suitably adaptive reality. In FU, we ensure that no students are left behind. We stay true and commit to provide the best education to all Foundationites. We foster a dynamic and progressive environment that cultivates effective learning, generates innovative ideas, responds to societal needs, and offers opportunities for all. Through the Global Giving platform, our dreams and visions are slowly turning into possibility through financial support and donations. One important project that Foundation U spearheads is the Foundation Preparatory Academy Science Wing. This concept was developed to precisely address the issues facing science education at the elementary and high school levels. This concept was developed to precisely address the issues facing science education at the elementary and high school levels through the aid of advanced technology, improvement of science laboratories, and equipment for enhanced academic learning. Teaching science subjects posed a challenge for most mentors and teachers. Most students have a low performance and less interest in science subjects. This may be caused by the lack of illustrations that would best explain the topics and intricacies of the subject matters. To address this growing problem, we saw the adaptation and use of audiovisual presentations and actual hands-on experiments in science education. Video clips are to be utilized to help explain the science theories and concepts. Availability of science laboratory rooms with complete equipment. We aim to become a catalyst of transformation where every student develops a high interest in science education. Through the development and construction of Science Way in FPA, we believe that it will greatly create a positive impact to the community where science is a fundamental learning in our daily lives. We want your help in building this dream project into reality. We assure you that any form of assistance, may it be financial help or manpower sources, are put to work in what is being planned and serves its purpose.